So Ghazal, thank you for being here. You are you built a business, you built a brand in Mamaearth. You were a winner 3 years back of 40 under 40. Uh, you are now very popular as a TV show host. You're very active on Instagram and social media. How has been the journey to building this business and making an impact?
BW 40 under 40 was one award which I celebrated the most by opening a champagne, because that was my first 40 under 40, right? So it's very, very special. Um, uh, the journey has just been 6 years, and I would not shy away from saying that BW has been at the forefront of recognizing us early on, having us at all the right places, ensuring we are meeting the right kind of people. So that definitely helped, apart from building a brand.
Ghazal, you're definitely very kind. I mean, I believe your life and your destiny and your achievements are yours. It's very kind of you to say that.
But Anurag, when you're starting up, you also need the right kind of platforms, right? To meet the right people, to talk about your story, share it, and all of that. And I think back then, which is 6 years back, we had very less of such platforms. There were hardly any events happening around entrepreneurship, and you guys were at the forefront. So, I mean, in all honesty, I'm putting this out because I've got a chance to talk about it. Um, but that said, the journey has been amazing. I think.
And Ghazal, I remember that event was at 24th October at the Taj Palace, full hall. It's one of our best events. And the jury meet.
Yes.
We came to present physically. We used to do physical jury
Yes.
meets.
Yes.
And I still want to go back to the physical jury meets, though my team tells me no, they're more time efficient, the jury member. But I met you there. We spent 2-3 minutes.
Yes.
Just to present you to the jury. I think we take our jury meets very seriously. You don't have to know me or anyone to win. You just have to build something meaningful. That jury meet, which was sometime in early October,
right?
And the event was on 24th October 2019 at Taj Palace, one of the best 40 under 40s we've done. So clearly, thank you for being kind. But coming back to Ghazal, Alagh and Mamaearth, and give us a sense of what are the milestones of these 6 years and what should we expect from you in 2023. And then I'll come to, the fact that you're a unicorn, you're a brand apart from the Mamaearth brand. How does it help the business and how does it take away the focus from the business?
Very relevant questions, though, because either of them happened. So, I, of course, started Mamaearth along with my husband. Convincing him to be a co-founder was the most difficult thing that I've done in my life. You know how it is with your partners, right? वो ऐसे शीशा रख देते हैं सामने, they will tell you all the pros and cons. They will not shy away from having any kind of filters. And if you're able to convince your partner that you want to drop everything and you want him to drop his career when he's at the peak of it and start something, there was stone that I achieved, which started this entire journey for the both of us. I think जब हमने शुरू किया था, we were very clear, right? We were like, we are going to be a baby care brand. Who cares? We are going to launch products for parents which help solve problem. And the first milestone I still remember that I had was, even if we are able to cater to 10,000 consumers in India, we would consider our brand to be successful, right? So my point of mentioning this is that we've never been the kind of people who are setting like really high goals, which ends up looking like they're unachievable, right? We believe in setting up smaller milestones, smaller goals, achieve them, feel good about it, and then set the next one, achieve that, and then set. I think that worked really well for us. In the last 6 years, of course, now things are changing because the scale is very different, and hence those eventually, I think the second thing which really worked in our favor was listening to our consumers. We entered the market with baby care. While we thought we were going to be a baby care brand, our consumers told us that, even adults need toxin-free products, and what you're building, something like that is not available in the Indian market. So why not offer products for us? And that's how suddenly our category expanded tenfold. Suddenly our opportunity to take the share of the wallet from the consumers ended up being 4 times, 5 times, because adult category in general opened hair, skin, body, baby, and the entire FMCG, beauty and personal care to us. And I mean, since then, I think consumer listening has been really important. We've ensured that we've also invested in building technologies which help us understand our consumers better. And that's how some of the innovations that we've been doing, people are really able to relate with it, because in all honesty, they were the ones who came up with those ideas, right? If mothers face severe postpartum hair fall after delivery, they need a product which solves that problem. We just went and asked, what were you doing, as a DIY at home? And they talked about onion juice. They said it really works, but it's painful, pulling out the juice, applying it on your head. It smells really bad. Everybody in the house wants us to stay away from them for those many hours that we have that thing on our hair. And we just, said that, okay, let's.
Does it work on male?
See, if it is because of temporary reasons, it definitely works. But if it's, hereditary, or if it's genetic related, then sadly you have to take the other course. All said and done, it's cosmetic, guys, right? So temporary problem solve karta, wo permanent wali cheezein nahi solve kar payega.
Now, Ghazal, coming to, it's a forum for entrepreneurship, for founders. We had Pratik Kauri of Fire earlier. Now, entrepreneurship has been glamorized by media, by shows. But what are the hard things about entrepreneurship? Give us a sense of some real challenges that you faced, which you eventually overcome. But give us a sense of what are the hard things about hard things.
Right.
It's a favorite book of mine. I keep
Mine
coming.
too.
Ben Horowitz.
So I think, like you said, right, celebrating entrepreneurship has been very recent phenomena. It did not exist when we started. I still remember when we were starting up, people were like, have you guys gone mad? You have like an 8-month-old child. You're giving up a life full of security. To an extent that our parents were also doubtful of our decision. They were like, are you guys sure that you want to do this? Because we are not. And to be very honest, in the early few years, when you're just starting to build out, it's a lonely journey, right? Nobody takes you seriously till the time your business achieves a certain level. And we personally saw that. I mean, from getting rejected by vendors who did not think their time was made sense for us to take their time, right? We traveled from Delhi to Chandigarh to meet this guy. And when we reached there, he had gone to Mumbai for another meeting, and we had a block on calendar, right? So things like that happen. What the hard thing about starting up is that you have to leave your ego aside. No matter what you've achieved, no matter how strong your corporate career was, no matter how celebrated you were, because I was a celebrated artist. Even before Mamaearth, I was getting enough press coverage. I was out there in the magazines. I was selling my paintings nationally, internationally, but all of that comes down to zero when you're starting a business, because you have to prove that the other person's time is worthy and you'll be able to make something out of it. And convincing that takes a lot of time. And there are a lot of people who will just see numbers. Until the time they don't see numbers, they will not take you seriously. So I think those are a few harder things that we should always keep in mind. But then on the other hand, that should not pull you back, right? Because you should know that these are the stepping stones. And if I don't step on these stones, if I don't move forward, I will not be able to prove myself. So just keep your ego aside. Whatever comes, just take it. Be like a shield that it comes and goes away. You're just carving your path out, and eventually you will reach where you want to reach. By of course, and there's no shortcut. Hard work is the only way. What I've learned through this journey is, no matter you have the talent or you don't have the talent, right? Hard work makes up for all of it. Just put in 10,000 hours into anything that you want to do. You will become a champion of that, right? It's a matter of 10,000 hours. And I still remember, because I didn't have a corporate career. I was an artist, like, PNL kya hota tha, mujhe nahi pata tha. I didn't know how to CAC kya hota tha mujhe nahi pata tha, and we were supposed to be a digital. So I literally started with that, right? But I used to track my hours. Am I spending? And back then, early, I think 1.5 years, we were working almost 16 hours a day, 16 to 18 hours a day, because we were working with this organization which was US based, madesafe.org. We wanted them to certify all of our products to be safe to be applied on skin, because that was a differentiation for us compared to the other larger brands that existed. And that was the reason why a lot of consumers would have trusted us. But because they were based out of US, the timings were different. So during the day, we were working with folks here in India. At night, we were working with them. And the call used to last like 3 hours, 4 hours, that long with a young kid. It was a lot, but just sheer hard work is what has brought me where I am today.
I was, I've been an entrepreneur. I worked for 4 or 5 years before I'm a serendipitous. I didn't plan to be an entrepreneur. It happened in my case. So I have someone from MDI here. I passed out of MDI 27, 28 years back, first batch. I know one of my juniors is your head of marketing. Anuja Mishra.
Yes, yes.
So MDI is a family for me. I'm also on the board of MDI. I'm also the president of and I must tell you, yesterday I did a session for Isha Bhargav and Prateek Bhargav, Mindler. Yeah. And Prateek is from MDI. I met him because he applied for one of awards, he won. So I see all the forms. Somebody was asking me in the morning, it's my most favorite part of my job, to discover new people, new companies. When Ghazal in 2019 became a 40 under 40, we could see she'd be doing well because you saw the quality of the jury we had, the quality of it. And those are physical juries. You came, spent 10, 15 minutes in a room with 12 people, were really large people, the accomplished people. And I was telling them that I did a session for young people. And I said, entrepreneurship is about taking responsibility. And it's about trade-offs. You can't blame anyone, your boss, the weather, Modi ji, kisi ko blame nahi kar sakte. Yeah. What happens, it starts with you, it ends. So, I want to ask you, as you become a unicorn, and Prasad did a session in the morning about cockroaches, because cockroaches survive everything. Unicorns don't. How do you build a profitable company? And let me tell you, with my role at E4M, though I'm not operational at all, every week, I'm not exaggerating, I get one new beauty company writing to us, at least one, with some differentiation. So it's a very, very competitive space. People are coming up with, specialized products in niches. You started with baby products, pregnant mothers. That's where you started because you had your own story. But India has not built Body Shop is from the UK. There are one or two other brands that have done well, and I'll take their names because life is about abundance. Forest Essentials has done well. It's a brand that has scaled up. There are maybe one or two others. Kama is done okay, but brands haven't really scaled up beyond the point. So I want to ask you, how do you make your journey sustainable? What is your advice to companies in this room? And I know almost all the winners. I don't know them personally, but I know the list and I know their profiles. How do they scale up from, if they are at 50 crores of revenue, to 500 crores of revenue, to 1,000 crores of revenue, and not give away too much equity?
So मैंने अभी तक कोई clear formula तो नहीं निकाला है कि this is exactly what it works, right? But I think for us, see, the larger the category that you're playing in, the more opportunity to scale is there, right? जितनी छोटी category में play करोगे, उतना opportunity of growth has come. So that is something that we learned early on, which was the move from baby to finally then saying that, beauty and personal care brand is what we are building. Second thing that worked really well, and from I call it 3 P's, right, which really helped us. And we also had a philosophy where we said that whatever we do, we will do with goodness. And our definition of goodness was very different, right? We said, and to be very honest, first 2-3 years, हमें भी नहीं पता था कि कितना scale कर पाएंगे हम. This is as we are going forward, right? You ask me today, where do I see myself in 2025? Probably I might be able to answer. You ask me, where would I be able to see myself in 2030? I won't be able to answer, to be very honest, right? Because the market is changing so fast. Consumers are changing so fast. What they wanted 3 years back, they don't want that anymore, right? And a very good example of this, at least if you're aware of beauty and personal care as a categories, is sunscreens and serums as category. 3 years back, sunscreen was an occasional product that, okay, if we are going out in a pool is when we'll apply sunscreen, to today, when people are saying that no, 2 to 3 times a day is when I want to apply sunscreen. And that category has just grown like 10x. It's going to further grow 10x in the next 2 years, right? So being able to identify some of these trends in your
And just,
category.
I don't use a sunscreen. For that matter, I don't use any beauty products, which is very evident. Not that they
I have to send you some.
Yeah.
That's not
My
okay.
wife does, and my daughter and my son. Son, I don't know, but my wife and daughter definitely do.
But you must be using a face wash, right?
I swear I have never. I get so many gifts the ITC chairman has sent me, and all the beauty companies send me, but I give it to my wife. I don't use them. I use a very basic, soap, and I use a very basic stuff. But coming to what I want to know from you is, give us some practical advice on scaling up. So one you said is play in a larger category, okay, larger universe. Give us some more inputs that can be used by people in the room.
See, one is so in a brand's journey, there's an invest mode and there's a growth mode, and then there's a growing sustainable mode, right? Be very clear about these three terms. Initial few years, you have to grow, which means you will have to burn some money and you will have to get that growth, which is increasing your top line, which means figuring out those larger categories where you can play. Second is growing, but within certain guardrails, because otherwise it can become a well where you're spending and beyond a level, it doesn't make sense, right? Your unit economics have to be right. Till the time you're not very clear about that, you will fall into a pit sometime later in life, and you'll realize that yahan se wapas jana is very, very difficult, right? So I think that is second thing that we were very, very clear about. And we started scaling within certain guardrails. Now, when you're doing that, right, you realize that, okay, opportunity for this particular proposition or what I'm building is only itna, and I can at max take a share, say a 5% share, a 10% share, which might be too high, but okay, this is the best that I can do. And hence, iske aage agar mujhe grow karna hai, I'll have to figure out more ways. So for example, in our case, after seeing serums as a category growing, and that category was growing in the space of active ingredients, where people said that mere ko acne hai, mere ko pigmentation hai, I want to use ingredients which are really hardworking, ke 2-3 din mein mujhe asar dikha jaye. Ab wo wala result a natural proposition brand cannot give you, right? So Mamaearth, the products that we'll have there will take certain amount of time, because all said and done, they're natural products. We are using food ingredients, and it takes time for that to heal. We ended up coming up with the second brand, which was the Derma company, where we said, okay, this active proposition doesn't fit really well, but it's a growing category. And hence, for us, we had one option that, okay, we don't have any play in this category. Second option was starting up a new brand, because it's the same consumer, right? And what we realized is that consumer has different needs at different points in time in his life. He or she might want to use like a natural shampoo on an everyday basis, but if that person is going out for, say, a wedding, he or she wants to use a shampoo which gives salon-like hair, or wants to color her hair because she feels that it makes her look better. And hence, because of these different propositions, we came up with different brands. Like now we have 6 brands, right? We have Mamaearth, we have the Derma company, which is a problem-solving brand with active ingredients. We have Aqualogica, which is based on this proposition of deep hydration for our skin, because if you look at the market, most of our best-selling products are actually all imported products, apart from Mamaearth, which is an Indian brand. But and there are a few categories where we are on the top, like a face wash or a face cream. But we've been using those thick, textured, oily products, which were not crafted for Indian audience. They were crafted for people outside, and they just
Different
imported.
skin.
Absolutely. And that's not what we have to use. And that's where Aqualogica came in, where we said that, the kind of climate and weather that we have, our skin doesn't need oil, it needs hydration. And this is the brand that we came up with. Similarly, we have a Bee Blunt in professional hair space. We have Ayuga in the Ayurveda space, where we're marrying yoga and Ayurveda and bringing these two age-old sciences, Indian sciences, together for better efficacy of the product, and millennializing Ayurveda, right? Because people don't want to use thick oils on their, and Ayurveda is not just all about that. So I think that was the second thing which helped us scale. And because of that, we now see ourselves probably having 2 or 3 brands in the future, which might be in a 500 crore club, apart
Absolutely.
from Mamaearth. So that is what helped us scale. And third, I would say it's very important to set processes and have that in place. Because as you scale, that's one thing which stops you from growing. In the initial years, you might be hustling, you might be figuring stuff out, but as you're growing, if you don't have processes in place, it just becomes so difficult. And in the end, governance
Absolutely.
becomes an issue and you're not able to
Scale up,
track.
same quality, same mission.
Absolutely, absolutely. So these 3 things really helped us.
Ghazal, I want to also ask you, there are players like Darpan's Good Glam company who are trying to build a different narrative. And I'm asking this question, and there's space for everyone.
Yeah.
How are you going to see you achieve a certain scale, but you may plateau? Okay, that's why you possibly, I don't know your strategy. That's why you're going to new categories. Same consumers buy different product, or in a family,
Yeah.
different members. So you're building that moat where you can. But tell me, as you become of a certain scale, the margins slow down, the costs go up, and you started in D2C space. Now you're omni-channel. That helps, but that also then takes away margins. So in a competitive space, one, the margins are getting squeezed because there are many players. Second, your own costs go up because the organization costs go up. So how are you dealing with profitability as you grow?
So, Tarang, for example, we have been profitable since the last 2 years, right? So I think it's one, as you scale, actually margins improve because you get the benefit of scale in your uh, daily working, right? Be in the form of working capital, be it in the form of better costs because now you are buying in bulk and all of that. So as you grow, actually the costs become better. The costs that to you become better. Now, omni-channel again, with a philosophy that where we will be where our consumers want us to be is where that omni-channel play came into place. We are a digital first brand. Even with the new brands, we will be going digital first because that gives you the power. It doesn't have any geographical boundaries, right? It lets you reach out to your first 10,000 consumers who are going to be loyal to you, who are going to spread that word of mouth, and hence help you recruit more people. And that's very important. Offline, you might start with like one city and one area in one city, and expanding from there becomes really difficult. And for any new brand, why would that person keep you in his store if he doesn't know about you, if the consumers don't know about you? And hence, in those 15,000 products that are lying in his shelf, discoverability or what you stand for just doesn't reach the consumer, and it's very difficult to establish a brand like that, right? Especially where some of these giants have that distribution power. Third, I would say that from an organization point of view, for example, what we have done is we have centers of excellence within the organization, right? And we have a completely different team from the core team, which is our brand factory team, which works in crafting new propositions. And this is a startup within a startup sorts, right? Because the kind of processes or timelines that some of these established brands can work with, like a Mamaearth or a Dermaco, some of the new brands like an Aqualogica, Bebland need much more aggression. So that bifurcation within our system is very clear. I think, like you said, there's a lot of competition, healthy competition. It's time to coexist now, and everybody will come up with a
and,
different
and the
proposition.
market is growing.
The market is growing, and it's actually a good sign, right? Because what we are saying, see, our India's beauty and personal care consumption right now is even lower than Bangladesh. And imagine how important it is for us to look good. Look at our weddings, the way we decorate ourselves, right? It says something about the Indian audience. It says that we love looking good. And now that looking good is actually converting into caring for yourself. And that market is going to grow, and hence it has that space of accumulating or having multiple people playing in the same category. But very, very important, how do you stand out from the crowd is the most important thing. Why should a person or your consumer buy you versus anybody else who can come up with onion oil and onion shampoo and say that I have the same hair fall problem, right? One, a product. Ensure the quality of your product is so special and so better than, and at least the way for us to do it is we blind test our products against leading competition to ensure that we are delivering the quality that we want to deliver to the consumers. Second, have processes in place. How do you want to reach out to your consumer? Rather than thinking, what do you want to do? Think, where does our consumer want to see? And that makes a lot of difference, right? We were not having offline in our mind till the time consumers said that there are certain products that you have where I want to see the texture, I want to apply, I want to have that connect with the product before I invest my money into it, which is where we ended up going offline. And then now we are opening up our exclusive stores because people want to experience the entire brand in just one place. While in certain shops, you will only have your best selling products because they fly out faster than some of the new innovations or launches that you're doing. In your exclusive stores, you're able to bring that entire brand journey to their life, right? The fact that you have a purpose, and that's what makes you different from other brands, right? My consumer will buy me because he knows that when he buys from me, he's just not buying a product, which is a good quality product, but he's also planting a tree because we plant that on his behalf, right? So that's the purpose. And each of our brands has that. And I think that when consumer gets just more than products is where he sticks to you. He will say that, okay, out of these two, I'm going to stick with this because this will also help me contribute towards environment or society in general. With Mamaearth, we are planting a tree on behalf of our consumers with every order that they place. In TDC, which is the derma company, we are ensuring that we are educating young kids who do not have access to science education with every order that gets placed on the website. With Be Blunt, we are ensuring that we are empowering women by giving them the right vocational courses which further help them get jobs. And to the consumer, they will actually be able to track the journey of when the tree was planted to how it's growing, its geolocation. You can actually go visit your tree whenever you're around. And you will also see how it has grown in the last 3 years, 4 years. So I think that is what sets us apart from the crowd.
Thank you, Ghazal. And my last question before I get 2 or 3 questions from the audience is, what are you doing to incubate more entrepreneurs? What are you doing to be able to do strategic investments which may help the Mamaearth portfolio?
So strategic investments, again, we are just 6 years old, right? We are also, in all honesty, it's just been 6 years. I think we are growing, we are learning, we are figuring ways out to become better versions of ourselves. A brand like Be Blunt, which we thought was crafted with a lot of love, it had such strong proposition, but it wasn't growing. We bought it out from Adhana, who's the lead hairdresser, and Godrej. And we said that because of our playbooks, because of what we have done with the Mamaearth and the Derma company, we'll be able to scale this brand better. And hence, this is some of the strategic investments that we are doing. Apart from that, I think both Varun and I are very, very active angel investors as well. We ensure that we are, and not just angel investors, also active mentors, I would say, right? Anybody can just drop in a mail if they need any kind of help. We ensure we are available. In about 6 months, once we do this small workshop where we invite all of the founders that either we have invested in or we are interested to invest in, we call them and we just let them ask any questions that they have, mentor them. I think this is just a small step towards being relevant to not just ourselves or what we are building, but also to the community. And as we grow, we will learn and we'll figure more ways out to give back. But Currently, this is what.
Thank you. Give Ghazal a big round of applause. And this is truly made in India at a scale. Consumer, European and American companies are very good at building consumer brands. Finally, in India, we are building consumer brands at a scale which have a huge impact. I can take 2, 3 questions. Raise your hand and keep the question very short. Noor, I'll come to you. Noor is our group editorial director.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Ojas. I'm from Resurgent India. I'm a part of private equity investment banking team. So my question is to you, Ghazal. So we see that a lot of corporates are jumping into D2C space. They are coming up with skincare products and personal hygiene. So what is your growth strategy specifically, and what is your take on inorganic acquisitions and going ahead? So how do you plan to compete with these?
God, it's a very D2C space because of your success. New brands are getting launched. I thought she explained, but she can give you another answer.
This is in continuation with your last question only. Kind of.
So, see, D2C is a very exciting space to be in, especially right now, right? Like I said, that it allows you to reach so many consumers at the same time pan-India, which is not possible through any other route, right? It has no geographical discriminations, or for that matter, any kind of discriminations when it comes to your consumers. A person sitting in South might be interested in a product that you're making in North, and he will get access to it. So there will be a lot of brands coming in. That's absolutely okay. I mean, what was your follow-up question to D2C space?
What are your specific growth strategies? How are you planning to tackle these? And is there any inorganic
like you came
acquisitions you are planning
6 years
to do?
back and you ate some people's lunch, there may be new people, new brands that may eat your lunch. That's the kind of question he's asking. I know lunchtime is still away, by the way.
See, new people will come in, but will they be able to eat my lunch or not? I am not very sure of that. And that's where I talked about the strength of having a brand and having a purpose, right? Which sets you apart. That is what will help us going forward. I also feel that the category in itself is going to boom. So the size that we are on today will increase 10 times in the next 10 years. And hence there will be space for more fishes to come in and have their share of food. So if the food is increasing, everybody's lunch plates will be full. I think, that's what I believe in. And also, it's a healthy competition till the time people are innovating in India, innovating for India. And we as an economy are growing. We're all in a good space.
Thank you.
Does anybody have more questions? All right, then I'll go for mine. Ghazal, you spoke about a couple of acquisitions. Now you spoke about Be Blunt. You also, I think, Dermacare went after Dr. Shades. Just wanted to understand, there was a certain culture that allowed you to pivot, identify, and scale in the beginning. How do you ensure that with these acquisitions, you don't lose your company's culture or the core spirit that allowed you to grow?
Okay, so that's a relevant question, right? Because as you scale, it's very difficult to ensure that you're culturally draining your core values down, right? One, within the team itself, it's difficult. And when you acquire, you need to ensure that you're actively talking about it again and again so that it drills down. Second, I would say all of these acquisitions have been majority. So we have, for example, Dr. Sheth, 100% of the brand is now owned by us, right? My team is leading it. So we are innovating, we are putting the products out and all of that. So then that question becomes easier to answer, because when it's your own team doing it, you know that culturally and your values will also get drilled down. Third, I would say that even today, if you ask me, do I have a stronger build muscle or an acquire muscle? I would say I have a stronger build muscle. What we were able to achieve in Mamaearth, we were able to achieve the same thing very fast, and possibly, what we achieved in Mamaearth in 36 months, we achieved in Dermaco in 24 months. We achieved the same in Aqualogica in about 18 months. So I have a stronger confidence on my build muscle. When it comes to acquisitions, for example, Dr. Sheth has now grown almost 6 times from when we acquired it, right? So it's going well, but still we have a lot to learn. It has been fairly recent. It's not been a complete year as well. It's just been a few months, and hence, we will also learn as we go. But yeah, if we are acquiring something, we will have a majority stake. We will have our team members actively involved to ensure that it is in the same value system as as our core brands.
We'll take two more questions. Samesh, Rahul, you have any question?
Anybody wants to raise your hands? I'll come
Any-
to you.
The gentleman there, Noor Malik will get the mic to him. We'll come wrapping up after this.
I work with an investment bank based out of Singapore, but I also ran a podcast aside. So I recently had a conversation with Rahul sir from Stellaris. So he told like he was, while investing in you and all of, so the brand that you have the capability to build out a brand that really differentiates you guys from others. So I wanted to know like how to make a brand relevant after, specified period of time, whether it's millennials, Gen Z. So how do you make that relevant?
Purpose. He talked about that. But yes,
Well answered, very well answered, but absolutely right. So if you're catering to millennials or Gen Z, one, both of them are very different audience. So you will have very different playbooks around catering to both. Second, you need to understand what is it that they value the most, and how is it that in some way you're able to offer that to them, right? So for example, today Gen Z wants to buy into why and not what. They'll be okay, this is what I need, but why should I buy it from this? Because there are 5 more options available out there. Is very important for you as a brand to answer. I think we realized some of these things very early on. We are glad we did, because that really helped us scale. But staying close to your consumers and understanding them is really, really important. I can't emphasize any less on how crucial it is in your growth journey. If you don't understand them, that's where things start going in the other direction.
Thank you.
okay. You want to ask one more question? Yes, this gentleman here. Just the whole idea is for you to ask questions.
I'm audible?
But that's okay.
My name is Karan Mehta, and I'm
Hi,
from
Karan.
Skyways Group. I head digital
Keep the
transformation.
mic closer to you.
I head digital transformation and IT for the group.
Okay.
So my question to you is, when you were finding out all the different products and different segments of the customers, how much did you capitalize on the data of the customers that, okay, I see this is a potential segment, and, there might be something we can do in there, but to identify, okay, this is what my customer needs, or this is where I might find my customer,
Got it.
using the power of
Got
data.
it. The use of data versus gut feel.
So in our organization, 100% of the decisions are data backed.
Okay.
We have 0 decisions which are based on gut. And to tell you how we started with it, even before starting the brand or launching the brand, Varun and I were standing outside this large kids store in South Delhi trying to understand our consumers. And we said, this is a toy store. We are largely going to have parents walk in. This is the right space for us. And that guy did not allow us inside the store, by the way. We were thrown out, right? So he said, मतलब आप नहीं आ सकते हो, बाहर निकलो. और हम छोटा सा ऐसे table बना के घूम रहे थे. We set it up right outside his shop, because that was like a walkway. And we were like keeping our egos aside, stopping each and every parent and just trying to have a conversation with them. One of us used to take care of their kids so that the parent can talk to us, right? And that's where we realized that, we were showing them the products, and this one woman with twins gets out of a Merc, and like, it felt like she's really educated and she'll understand our brand proposition, and she looks at our products and she says, this says sulfate free, aap free kya de rahe ho uske sath? Now imagine if that incident wouldn't have happened. We would have gone around shouting toxin-free products, natural products, and people wouldn't have understood. That's where we realized that, we need to spread awareness around what toxins are and why are we coming into the market. And hence the first 6 months of our journey was actually education-based, where we did not have a shopping cart on our website. It was pure education that people come in, they take in information, they see what ingredients they should use, what is that exhaustive list of ingredients that they should not use, and hence check any of the products out for. And since then, it has all been data driven. And now we have, of course, invested in technology. We have developed tools. We have UCR, which helps us listen to our consumers very closely on our website. Before launching a product, I can actually check that, okay, if I want to launch a rice face wash, should that be in a tube packaging or a pump packaging? Should it be rice and niacinamide, or should it be rice and collagen? And consumer picks, votes, and tells me what is it that I should go and launch out. So to that extent, and of course, in processes, by implementing SAP, etc., 100% of it is now data-driven.
That's amazing.
Thank you. No more questions. My last question. If you had to give 3 quick pieces of advice to wrap up this conversation for a 2023, what should entrepreneurs focus on in 2023? What are the basics? And what are you learning the last 6 years?
Sustainable growth, not growth at any cost. Very, very important. And we are all seeing that bubble burst now, right? Be very sure of your unit economics. Be very sure that as you grow, this gets better and not worse off. Second, don't let any bias hold you from moving forward, right? For example, in my case, for the first 4 years, I was so insecure personally that I don't come from a business background. Of course, my family was into business, but I had never been the owner of any P&Ls, right? I did not understand the consumer space at all. I did not have any corporate career, so to say. And hence, these things used to pull me down or pull my confidence down until coming to a level where I said, chuck it. Like I said, 10,000 hours and hard work takes care of any shortcoming that you might have. Move forward with that attitude because you will need it not just every year, but every day of being into entrepreneurship for some reason or the other. Third, accept that you don't know it all and hence be open to learning. Meet as many people as you can, learn from them, learn from their experiences, speak less, listen more. That has been my mantra. In most of the gatherings where people are speaking, you'll see me to be the quietest person because I'm just observing and I'm just learning, and that's what I love to do. It has really helped me. So these are the 3 things that I would say going forward, 2023 or 2030, it just stays apt. And fourth, be hungry, like the space is changing so fast, the economy is changing so fast, the world is moving at a pace, it gives us surprises almost every single day. If you don't stay updated, if you're not aware of what's happening around, somewhere that will also affect your business to an extent, right? So just be hungry, be open, be collaborative, and keep building. That's the most important.
Give Ghazal a big round of applause.
Thank you.
As
Such a warm audience.
as I said, that the next, there was a digital revolution which is already on its way. But the 2 big trends are, the next decade is the age of well-being. Grooming is part of that. Second is blockchain. I mean, there's a lot more happening in every domain. There's no domain in India that will not grow. Everything in India will grow. So really, we're happy that consumer brands and consumer businesses are being built by first generation entrepreneurs to a scale. But the biggest question is how, which is another session, is how to work with your spouse. We'll do that in another BW event. Me and my wife also work together. So we can, I think if you can work with your spouse, you can work with it.
I agree.
I can tell you that, because you have to wind your words. You have to be very careful what you say, but also say what you want to say. Both.
It's easier. I mean,
yes,
you're doing it at home. You just need to manage it at work, right?
Yes, but it's not that simple for everyone. So give Big Ghazal and Varun a big round of applause. They built a business.
Thank you.
And they